Hi friends, welcome to another great episode of Building New Hampshire. I'm your host, Matt Mayberry, the CEO of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association. Thank you for tuning in. We have three amazing guests for you to learn from today. So I promise you, if you can loan me 45 minutes of your time, you're going to learn something new. Hi friends, welcome back to another great edition of Building New Hampshire. I'm Matt Mayberry, the CEO of the New Hampshire Home Builders, and your host for a great set of interviews today. First up is my friend. We've been car warriors together out on the campaign trail, and I'm thrilled with what she's doing legislatively. So please meet my friend, the state senator from District 9, Denise Ricciardi of Bedford. Welcome.
Hi, Matt. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Let's jump right into this because you do a lot, and you've done a lot. First up, in your first term, and part of that, even before you got elected, I loved you instantly because you see challenges and you just tackle them. Everybody tells you no, you're like, yeah, whatever, move aside, go. Because we actually met when we were distributing hand sanitizer during COVID. And we had a friend in the Seacoast who made hand sanitizer, and you're like, hey, I'm Denise Ricciardi, I'm a city councilor, bring me hand sanitizer. Yes, ma'am. There's only one answer. But in your first term in the Senate, you tackled rooms and meals tax, one of the largest taxes in New Hampshire that affects us all. How'd you do it? What'd you do? Tell our viewers, all 120,000 of them, why'd you tackle rooms and meals tax?
Because one of the biggest complaints that I ever hear from anybody in this state is my property taxes are too high. And I also don't like broken promises. And I learned that the state broke their promise of giving 40% of meals and rooms revenue sharing back to the taxpayers for property tax relief. Can you imagine 2 decades of a broken promise? Yeah. So I made it my mission to restore the meals and rooms. And I was met with opposition. Oh, you can't do that. You can't fix that. And I was not taking no for an answer. So I drafted the legislation. And then the governor at that time was Governor Sununu. And I went to see him and I said, what would you say if I told you we could help people with property taxes, but not ruin the New Hampshire advantage? No income tax, no sales tax. He said, what do you got? I like how you're thinking. He said, well, when you get something done, have it on my desk. I said, it'll be there in 10 minutes. And he was very supportive of it. And the most important thing about it is that I could get 30%. We didn't get the whole 40, but the most important thing was I amended the bill. So it's in a dedicated fund and not the general fund. What does that mean for the people of New Hampshire? It means it can't go away. And right now for this year, for 2026, it truly is the gift that keeps on giving. It is over $140 million going back to the taxpayers' towns.
Just this year alone?
Yes.
That's huge. But as you said earlier, it was 2 decades of this. Imagine what New Hampshire would look like if we had 2 decades of $140 million a year of property tax relief. Yeah. So you tackled it and conquered it. And I always smile because everyone kept telling you, no, you can't do it, it'll never pass. And you got passed.
Yeah, former Senate President Chuck Morse at the time, when he met my husband, he said, can I ask you something about Denise? He said, sure. He goes, how do you rein her in? She's like a pit bull. He says, you don't.
So I've met Giorgio. No, you've got him well trained. He's good and supportive. But there's a couple other issues that you've tackled, and one is daycare and childcare with your Momnibus bill. Could you tell us a little bit about your Momnibus bill and why that's good for New Hampshire?
So we did a Momnibus 1.0, and then last session Momnibus 2.0, and then this year Senate Bill 614. So there is a combination of things that they do, but they really take care of families and children. One example is we've had 11 birthing centers close in our rural areas.
Wow.
And so one of the things that Momnibus did was it has a grant that trains the emergency people to the EMTs so they can do complicated births. So we've just done a tremendous amount for families and kids, and I was really happy to pass Senate Bill 614, which is a huge problem in the country, not just New Hampshire, where people can't get back to work because daycare centers are closing.
Absolutely.
It's a workforce issue, or the children can't get the care they need. And one of the big reasons that we have this problem is the insurance is too high for providers, even ones without claims. So this bill is giving them the opportunity to do risk pool and band together to get lower costs in insurance. And as a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, Matt, I got a call from Washington, D.C., from Health and Human Services. They asked me to come and sit roundtable with them because they'd like to try to solve these problems around the country and use my bill as a model.
And not just D.C., but you're at the White House doing this, if I remember correctly. Am I remembering wrong?
No, I wasn't at the White House for that, but I have been there for some other issues.
Perfect. And we're going to talk about the trade issues in just a little bit, but you're a big advocate for housing. You're an advocate for, local control, towns working together with builders to create housing. But one of the limiting factors in all housing is water and water infrastructure. You're tackling that right now. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing to help towns and municipalities with water and water infrastructure?
Sure. I have done several bills over the last 5.5 years for water infrastructure, and there's an organization, Water's Worth It, where I speak about this every March. And in fact, they gave me an award for being the water warrior, if you will. But we can't have the, cart before the horse. And a lot of times when we're trying to solve the housing problems, we don't think about the water infrastructure. There's no way you're going to be able to build housing without proper water infrastructure and sewer. And so a lot of the bills that I've done are directing funding specifically for these issues. And I keep trying to get them increased because we need it. We absolutely need it.
Good. Now, you also help small businesses in New Hampshire with some trade issues. And do you want to talk about your trip overseas and what you did to help small businesses here in New Hampshire? Because I think it's pretty cool.
So I did a trade agreement with the state of New Hampshire and Greece.
Yes.
This is a huge opportunity for economic growth. One of the things that I learned in dealing in Greece with Metlin Energy is that China makes over 96% of gallium. And gallium is needed for defense, semiconductors, the chips in your phone, and many other things. My hope is that in this legislation, one of the things that can happen is we may be able to have a plant here in New Hampshire, which will provide jobs. We can partner with Metlin Energy and produce gallium right here, which would be huge.
Is gallium, because I don't know it, is it a natural mineral, or is it something that has to be produced chemically, or?
It takes a little bit of nature, like I believe bauxite,
okay,
which actually is used to also create aluminum, and then they have to. I don't know the process exactly, but they have to clean it and then produce it.
Got it.
So it's a combination. But it also will help with even education, the university system. It's not just trade or imports. It's bigger than that. In fact, our charitable gaming that we do here in the state, that already, some of those supplies come from Greece.
Wow, that's awesome.
So I'm really excited. This is a great opportunity for New Hampshire.
Now, are you in your second term or third term now?
Finishing the third.
Finishing the third. From your 6 years of being in the state Senate, what do you enjoy most? I know getting accomplishments done, but you are very focused on customer service. You go to every single town every year before the select board. give them a briefing, take their questions all unedited. You put constituent service first. What have you liked most about being state senator?
It's absolutely the people, helping people fix problems. I work for the people. You know, I'm not a politician. I am a public servant. I remember the town manager in Bedford, when I got elected the first time, he said, "Oh, Denise, I hope this doesn't change you." And I said, "What makes you so sure I won't change them?"
Yeah. That's true, because people tell you no, and you just plow right through, and because you have strength in your conviction. And when you have that clarity of purpose, it's easy to move forward, and you do.
I personally read every email and answer everyone. I really do.
Oh, I know, because I get your emails like 2 in the morning. Like, just came back to you from 5 this afternoon, Matt. So you do that. You know, should you choose to run again, and you know, should you get elected, what's left to conquer? Where do you go next?
You mean legislatively?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we still have more things we can do for families. We still need to continue to work on the water issues and affordable housing. To me, it's not the party politics. It's about really doing what's right for the people. And I feel like that's what gets lost a lot of the time. But I really came here to represent the people and do that work. So one of the great things about knocking on doors and things like that is you learn what is bothering people, what's worrying people. And that's how I draft my legislation, is how to fix the problems that the average person just trying to put food on the table, you know, put heat in their house, take care of their kids, and just improve the quality of life for Granite Staters.
Absolutely, because one thing that sets you apart from some of the others is that you'll work with both Republicans and Democrats. You go with the idea, not the ideology. And I think that's important here in New Hampshire.
We're all people, and we agree more than we disagree if you actually really look at it, which I hope it's okay to bring this up, but since we're talking about bipartisan, I've recently joined the organization New Hampshire Forum, which was started by Andrew Shue, a former actor, then went
Melrose Place.
He's a philanthropist, and I was sought out to be part of this because it's exactly how I operate, and that's by working together to do what's right for the people.
Yeah. And when you do that, you can sleep well at night and carry on the next day. But Senator Denise Ricciardi, if someone's on the edge of the couch like, I like her, I want to help, I want to get involved, or I have an idea, how can they get a hold of you?
I have an open door policy and probably one of the most accessible people.
And you have the best snacks in your office, by the way. So.
Oh yeah, whole coffee bar.
Absolutely.
So just come over. So I have my Senate business cards, and on it is my cell phone. So it is 603-490-8572. Call or text with any problem, concerns, or ideas.
And because the person just swore at us on TV as they're reaching for a pen. So now they have a pen and a piece of paper. What's your cell number again?
603-490-8572.
Perfect. State Senator Denise Ricciardi, a dynamo, a force of nature. Thank you for helping us here in the state of New Hampshire. Thank you for coming on Building New Hampshire, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me.
And most importantly, thanks for being my friend, because it's fun driving around New Hampshire gossiping about things. So
I couldn't do it without you.
Perfect. Friends, stay tuned, and we'll be right back with our next guest. Hey friends, welcome back to Building New Hampshire. Once again, I'm Matt Mayberry, the CEO of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association, and thank you for spending some time with us today. I want to introduce you to this cool, dynamic entrepreneur who saw challenges and he's gone to get it, and what he's going to do to fix things and get young people involved. So please meet my friend, Paul Finley, CEO of Finley Construction Company. Paul, welcome to Building New Hampshire.
Thanks so much for having me on, Matt.
And equally important, thanks for being a member of the New Hampshire Home Builders.
Of course.
Let's just jump right into this. We just talked to Senator Denise Ricciardi, and she was part of the legislative team that brought forward ADUs, accessory dwelling units. we all know the reasons why. You know, they help people stay in their homes, they help with generational living, they help with health care, and it gives homeowners some options, provided they meet the zoning requirements within their town. If you have a tiny lot, you can't put an ADU on top of your tiny house. It has to work. Why'd you get into ADUs? Do you see a market for it? What should our folks at home who are trying to get their kids out of the basement and at least into the backyard, why should they consider an ADU?
ADUs are great. They provide an extra space for family members to kind of expand their footprint within living space on their property. So you can, what we've seen a lot lately is parents who have their kids move back home. The parents will either move into the new ADU or they build the ADU for their children and their families. So that way the family unit can stay in really one property in New Hampshire, and they can all live together.
Yeah. And is it, we're not talking about throwing up a doghouse in the back. Like this is, you've got to have a couple nickels to put together to make this happen. Do you have an opinion on the pricing of this?
ADUs are just about the same price as like building another home on your property. So they're certainly not inexpensive. There are other ways to do ADUs that people don't really think about. So you can have an ADU as a separated structure on your own property. You can build an addition to your house. As long as you fire separate the two portions of the homes and you have bathrooms and kitchens for each side of the structure or each portion of the structure, they work out. We've even done them in finished basements.
Exactly. I was going to say that, it doesn't have to be that, that little house in the back 40. It could be the basement. It could be that room over the garage. They don't have to be huge. They just have to, kitchens, fire, it has to be safe and ready to go, but it does give some folks some options. Paul, we talked a little bit about off camera about the evolving employment market and the employment pool right now. And you kind of looked at your company as you do, because that's what makes you successful. Where does your workforce sit, and what are you doing to kind of expand it and change it, or are you happy with where you are right now?
Well, we're always looking to grow our company. We have tons of requests for ADUs and bathrooms and everything else, but we want to serve as much of the population as possible. Right now, we have 16 employees. The average age is around 40 to 45. Now, I would say that is an aging population of professionals, and I would love to see some younger folks get into the industry. Now we have some 20-some-odd-year-olds, we have some 30-some-odd-year-olds, but I'd really like to see college age and high school age kids get into this field and really get interested and grow to love this profession like I do.
Summer's coming, summer's employment. We've got a lot of our friends at home who want to kick their kid out of that basement and into the job market. What are you looking for? Are you hiring this summer? How can they find you? How can they get the kid to work? Like my nephew, Ross, go.
That's a good question. Getting them to work is one problem, but the availability for work is there. So you can go to Finley Construction at yahoo.com and fill out an application, You can go to finleyconstruction.us and fill out an application there for employment. But we are looking to take on high school students who can be doing one of two things. We have some marketing opportunities where we can get them familiar with our company and have them knock on doors and get to know their neighbors and their community. And also that brings with it some opportunity to get on site and take a look at what we do from day to day. And then there are also other opportunities for kids who are of age to come on and swing a hammer and learn how to set screws and use tools and do things safely. We really pride ourselves on our training programs and our focus on doing things the right way and having standards in place for the quality of work.
What is of age?
I think you have to be 17 years old to get on I think you have to be 18 years old to get on a ladder and really be working. I think there are certain restrictions and parental consents before you can come out and start working in the field.
Absolutely. Paul, you and your company, Finley Construction Company, do a really great job of kind of foreseeing where market trends are going. Not what's fashionable today, but what's going to be fashionable tomorrow, but also long lasting. Like the avocado refrigerators didn't age quite so well. From what you're seeing from your customers and from your employees, what are some of the trends? You mentioned bathrooms earlier, but what are some of the trends you're seeing that either we maybe not had seen before or that are coming up?
That's a really good question. It's hard from like the design standpoint. So I think design.
You're such an engineer.
Design stuff is really cyclical. You're going to see painted cabinets come and go, and wood cabinets come and go. I think one of those things is like the darker windows, the black windows, kind of got really popular for a while. In terms of the projects themselves, I think the 3 to 4 season sunrooms, yep. Outdoor spaces, I think those have become really popular, and I think will continue to do so. And I think the ADU market is really here to stay. There's so many ways to make the best of your property, and until we can fix the housing crisis, I think people are going to make the most of their properties and try to get the biggest ROI when they go to build and renovate on their houses.
Absolutely, because when you look at that ROI, that return on investment, a lot of folks don't want to walk away from their 2.5%, 2.75% mortgage. So they're choosing to take a home equity line and fix the home that they're in. And that's one of the challenges we have with the housing market is because people are staying. They're not either upsizing or downsizing in between.
Right.
With try to find a good way. If you could fix one challenge with the housing crisis right now, what would it be?
I would love to be able to build more. I think the ADUs really address a large portion of this problem, but it is really difficult to find land suitable to build on with the water and sewer infrastructure or the ease of getting utilities there. So that's a big hurdle that needs to get conquered. I think there was a piece that I've recently started looking into, which was the cottage community in the Keene area. And I think the holdup there is you need to find a property that has public water and sewer. And there's lots of property outside of the higher density areas that this can get taken advantage of on. But it is really currently restricted to higher density areas of the town.
Absolutely, and that's why it was important to have like Senator Ricciardi, who was just on with us, talking about expanding that water infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So the municipality can keep their local control, work with builders, but we all work together to create some housing that works.
Yeah.
And I do think the cottage is a very cool idea. There's a similar one in Dover, and it works. It gets people in their homes. One thing that we're going to be looking at statewide is excessive state land. And the one thing I've asked the governor's office and those folks doing it is don't put it up just for rentals. Put it on small lots for ownership so that your employees can live close to where they're working, where teachers and firefighters and people who are in the Guard and Reserve can live in the communities they serve. Because once we flip it out into a rental, and we have a lot of members who own a lot of rentals, and that's fine, but you don't build that generational wealth by renting. So we need housing of all sorts. One thing that we're doing, you talked about how you put yourself through school while working. And we're working with New England College, so we really took your story to heart in that we're working with New England College to create micro-credentialing so that when you take those summer hires, those who just graduated, you'll be able to have them working, but also take classes through your company with New England College in Henniker online to work towards that associate degree. What got you into home building and working through? Because you didn't take the easy route. You worked hard. So where'd you start? Why'd you do it? And where do you want to go with it?
So I got into the home service industry through painting houses. I couldn't figure out my way through college, liberal arts college. So during the summers, I was putting paint on exteriors of homes, and that took off. I figured I could paint, and then I could have a bunch of my friends paint with me. Running a business was a total different animal, and that was really the difficult part to learn, and that was a lot of trial and error in the beginning. But painting soon turned into, can you fix my clapboards? Can you get up on my roof? Can you replace this window? Like, there's a lot of rot and repair that really works its way into painting as you get deeper into homes. So I decided to go back to school for construction and design. I graduated with an associate's degree from New England Tech. And when I had an opportunity to sell the painting company to a friend of mine, I did that, and I started working on homes. I would flip houses. I would buy distressed homes, fix them up, and then sell them. So over 3 or 4 years, I did 6 of those, and I would put it on social media, and I would meet a bunch of other people who were working in the industry, and those are the guys and girls that I would bring onto my team as people learned about Finley Construction and wanted us to do work for them. So.
Well, you just got yourself invited to another segment of Building New Hampshire, just talking about flips, because I saw about 5,000 people move closer on the edge of their chair, like, I want to flip. They've all watched way too much HGTV, so they all think they can do it, but we'll save that for a second segment. But Paul Finley, president of Finley Construction Company, how can our friends reach out to you for baths, for ADUs, and I know they're going to call you about these flips. So you may as well start that class right now. How can they find you?
You can find us online at finleyconstruction.us. You can also call our office directly at 603-903-9218. Now,
I know they put the pen and paper down from Senator Ricciardi, so they picked it back up. What's that telephone number of the office again?
The office phone number is 603-903-9218.
Perfect. Paul Finley, thank you for being a member of New Hampshire Home Builders. Thank you for what you do for us, and we look forward to having you back again to talk about flipping houses.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And friends, we'll be right back with our next guest, and she's a dynamo, and you won't believe what she does for the state of New Hampshire. Stay tuned. Hi friends, welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Building New Hampshire. I'm your host, Matt Mayberry, the CEO of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association. You know how people just come into your life and they change it completely? I had run for Congress. I successfully came in second and lost. And this next guest called me up and said, hey, you're unemployed. We need somebody. Come to work for us. So I want you to meet the former president of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association, president of Homescapes of New England, founder and creator of Hammers for Veterans, founder and creator of Builders Care Foundation, a dynamo who has a great puppy, and I'm really mad she didn't bring him, Bailey, but please meet my friend, Lynette Rogers.
Hi, Matt. Thank you.
Welcome.
It's good to be here.
And thanks for employing me.
You're welcome. So far, you know, you're still here. So.
I'm still here for a little while, at least 12 more minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have this incredibly dynamic background. You were in California for a while, and then you came back east, and you started a company, Homescapes of New England. What do they do? What do you do? Why do you do it? How did you get from marketing to construction?
Well, I'll do a quick Cliff Notes version of it.
Exactly.
So I obviously grew up in Southern California. I lived there my whole life. My dad was in construction, so I kind of grew up with it in and around me. I said I'd never get into construction because once you live with someone who's in construction, your house is always under construction of some sort. And so when I was in high school, actually, my dad worked for the movie studios. So he's a prop builder, you know, made sets and did different stuff like that. So I went to all different job sites my whole life, you know, from that standpoint. And then I graduated high school early, and the Northridge earthquake happened. And obviously there was a lot of damage to lots of houses, and so the insurance companies couldn't keep up. So they hired construction companies to help at least assess the damage, to give a scope of work and figure that out. So I actually went to work right after I graduated high school. I was 17 and a half. I graduated early, so I went to work with my dad's company that he worked with and estimated houses. So I went around inspecting houses and figured out what was going on. I did that until I started college, and then went to school. I went a degree in marketing and business, and I went to work actually. Thereafter, I went to work for James Hardie, which is a building products manufacturer, which is actually the largest building product manufacturer in the world, actually.
Wow.
Now, since they bought AZEK and TimberTech last year. So my main focus when I moved here from Southern California was to start a business that focused primarily on fiber cement siding. This market was perfect for that product. There was really no one here installing it properly and educating people about what it is and why it's better. So I did that 16 years ago. I started the business in March 2010, and we've been going strong ever since.
Oh, meteoric. But fiber cement siding, what is it and why is it good?
So the main components, it's 90% Portland cement, sand, wood, cellulose fiber, and water. So those are its 4 main ingredients. It's a dimensionally stable product, so it doesn't expand and contract. Freeze thaw, things we get like the cycles around here. It holds paint very well, so you're not having to paint every 5 to 7 years like you do with wood. Unlike vinyl, it's not expanding and contracting. It's not warping. It's not fading. You don't have any issues with regards to fire, so it is a non-combustible material. So if you see out in California with all the fires and things like that, and obviously we have a lot of rural areas, it actually has stopped fires from going into neighborhoods and continuing on as a fire break for a vinyl neighborhood. So it's very good.
Or sometimes you have the grill a little too close to the siding, that may warp.
Yep, it will not melt.
It would, of course, never happened to me, of course. So yeah, we need to redo my condo.
Yeah.
But so you did this. It's a huge success. It's a great success. You became president of the New Hampshire Home Builders. Matter of fact, the logo you designed is the logo we still use today, that you designed. And you and I have talked about God and Christ and how, and giving back to the community. Mm-hmm. You did that in a very tangible, strong, effective, and efficient way. Can you tell our friends what you did next? So you're a Pinnacle, successful company, and then you said, I've got 3 minutes of free time, so I'm going to do this.
Correct. Well, part of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association, we have a large network of members who can do a little bit of everything, from all different facets of construction, as well as helping with insurance or dumpsters or toilets, et cetera, because you need them all for doing a successful construction project. So with that, we started NH, so Builders Care Foundation, and so with that, one of the first programs was Hammers for Veterans. So my father being a veteran, both my grandfathers being veterans, and we have the largest veteran population, about 10%, I think it is. And so with that, who to serve better than our veterans in our state? So we created Hammers for Veterans, which does construction-related services for disabled vets or vets who can't afford services on their homes. Obviously, it's a small, organization. We can only help so many people, and obviously, everybody isn't deserving, but we can't help everybody with everything. But typically, we've done from some bathroom remodels that were smaller, accessibility, life safety kind of things, also accessibility into a house. So one had Parkinson's, all of a sudden can no longer get in and out, even to go to treatments for different things. So we end up putting a wheelchair ramp into it, a permanent one. So it's going to be something that will be there, not just this temporary metal piece of, steel going in and out, which is ugly. So it fits in with the community, and all different branches of the military, both serving and have been obviously retired.
And about how many veterans have you helped so far during the course of this?
So we started the foundation in 2015, and since there are about 30 veterans' families we have served. And again, we was always looking for opportunities to help veterans. We raise funds through different basically auctions, things like that. We've done raffles, we've done golf tournaments, we've done various things. And obviously, we are a 501(c), so if people want to donate to us, donate to us. And
please.
you will see on our website, you can see the projects, we take pictures, and a lot of things are done in kind. So a lot of our manufacturers and or suppliers who are builder members donate to those projects. I've had Waste Management donate dumpsters for free for us, as well as our members. So contractors have donated their time, their people, and the companies even said that we'll pay their guys, and the guy's like, no, we'll do it for free. We worked for free for you today. And they feel so much gratitude and that they gave back. And it's amazing, not only the veterans we're helping, but the people doing it, how much they feel for doing it.
Absolutely. There's one, I think maybe my second or third week on the job, and we helped out a Gold Star mother here in Concord who contractors had just ripped her off. Mm-hmm. There was no funds left, and the windows were bad, and it was just a mess. And she just didn't know where to go. And so, we went out, and all the contractors there, friends, she seems really, really nice and quiet. Put her on a job site, she's a bitch. Go, 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 go.
No.
Get it done. But in a really good way, because you had that clarity of mission that we talked about earlier. You knew what needed to be done. You knew that time was valuable for everyone, and you delivered. And for that young mom whose spouse had died in action, that changed the world. She cried, I cried, builders cried, because she thought she was all alone. Because she is all alone here in New Hampshire. It was her and her son. They had just moved here, and you stepped in and changed her life. And that makes the difference.
Getting those thank you cards, again, it's just a card for people from that. It's like, it makes it worthwhile and makes you want to keep doing it. And, even though it's long hours for different things, pulling different, getting the funding, finding people who can do the work, and making sure you're staying within budget and what we can afford is, the hard part, right? So it's like getting that and then trying to get it when people have time. So a lot of times people didn't have, time to do it. During COVID was difficult also because a lot of our veterans are elderly, and, you can't really be inside someone's house a lot of times. So that was kind of coordinating around that. So it had a lot of obstacles that we've had in the last 10 years. So we just are celebrating, our past year was a 10-year anniversary of the organization. So that's been great from that standpoint. I'm glad it's still going.
Oh, absolutely. And how can people find out more about Hammers for Veterans?
So you can go on to our website, builderscarenh.com, and you can see, again, how to donate, how to volunteer, also see past projects and what we're doing, and to get involved, because it's important to be involved.
But you also get to pay the bills also.
Yes.
Volunteering's good, but got to pay the bills. So Homescapes of New England, you don't do just siding, and you don't sell builders, you actually install it, correct?
Correct, yep. We are a James Hardie siding specialist is what we call ourselves from that standpoint. But we are an elite preferred installer for James Hardie. We're a platinum installer for TimberTech, a platinum installer for Trex, for Anderson windows. So pretty much on anything on the exterior, we can handle with that. All high quality materials. And
where's your service area?
So we service like coastal part of Maine, like southern part of Maine right there, no farther than Wells, in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, the southern New Hampshire from Concord, pretty much south.
So
yeah.
It keeps you busy, not trouble.
Yes, it keeps me on the roads.
It does. So what's next? Because you're always dynamic, you're doing things, you see a problem, you address it and fix it. What's next for Lynette Rogers?
Well, I'm really focusing on kind of doing more stuff with the business and coming out with different ideas and from design. So there are a lot of new technologies out there. We talked about it a little earlier today. How to use AI in construction and what do you use that for? So design aspects, there's a lot of things to help people visualize because people want to really see what's going on. So educating yourself about that, doing more. Every conference I've gone to in the last year, that's what it's been about. So really getting into that and understanding more of it and helping people see things that before they actually exist that are rendering.
And this is why it's great to have you as one of my bosses, because one of the first classes we're offering through New England College is AI and project management. How do you manage AI and get the consumers what they need without losing that human touch?
Exactly. Construction, I always say we happen to do construction, but it's a customer service business. It's 100% is customer service. So if you do not have that, you're not going to be in business no matter how good your work is. So it's very important for you and your customer to have a good way to communicate and communicate in the way that they want to hear it. A lot of contractors don't get that, and they think they just can tell people, and I was with the homeowner today. It's like, it's so nice and refreshing to talk to someone who doesn't belittle me. And it's someone who listens and understands, and seeks to rectify a situation that they had with somebody else.
Absolutely. So, Lynette Rogers, how can our friends on the couch saying, it's time, how can they find you? How can they talk to you?
So you can call the office at 603-734-4742 or go onto our website, homescapesofne.com, and you can see all the services we offer. And then, as I said, for Hammers for Veterans, you can go to builderscarenh.com and find out more about what we do and how you can help serve our veterans as well who served us.
And you also take donations to help other veterans.
We do, so we're always willing to take your money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Invest your money.
Invest it wisely, and we show you how we use it. So we always do a value versus actual cost, and you can see how much you actually get out of your investment.
Perfect. And that telephone number one more time, because they set down their pen and paper, like, dang, and now they have it in their hands. So what's that number again?
So for Homescapes of New England is 603-734-4742.
Perfect. Lynette Rogers, President, CEO, founder of Great Things Here in New Hampshire. Thank you for being on Building New Hampshire.
Thank you, Matt.
And friends, that wraps up another great episode of Building New Hampshire. Thank you for your time. I know you've learned something new. So thank you once again, and we'll see you next month. Thanks for your time.